So, students, today is our commentary for Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 3. And this is one of my favorites because it is where we introduce Friar Lawrence. Now, in the electronic version that I've given you, it has the spelling Laurence. Our textbook has it spelled my way, Lawrence. Traditionally, the LAW is the spelling that's for a last name, and the LAU is usually used as a first name. Either way, it's kind of like saying, Friar John. So I guess, it would be like spelling LAU. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But Friar Lawrence is a key character in this play, and today we get him involved. The scene starts out at his cathedral, at his church, if you will. And Friar Lawrence is not just a friar. He's not just a priest. He's not just a religious leader. He's also an apothecary. If you've never heard the term of an apothecary, in England nowadays they're called a chemist. In America we call them a pharmacist. So Friar Lawrence has a second job, and that is making medicine for the community. He makes medicine spiritually, where he blesses people's lives, but he also makes medicine in the physical to help people with their health. So kind of a cool second job for Friar Lawrence. And the scene starts out with Friar Lawrence kind of wandering the gardens, checking things out, and quite frankly, just checking on on how things are growing. In the, it's so funny, in the newest version, the modernized one with Leonardo DiCaprio, they show Friar Lawrence as being kind of like a pot grower, but all the other versions just show him growing, medicine, growing the herbs that would then go into medicine. And so that's what he starts out here. He's kind of just thinking out loud, and he's talking about how there's just a little difference between something being medical and helpful and healing, and then if you just add a little too much, it can be poisonous. Some flowers are dual purpose. If there's something that's a little too strong, it could actually kill people. And Friar Lawrence is very, very concerned about making sure everybody's healthy, and so he is doing his best to see to it that his garden is growing correctly, and that when he distributes his medicine, that it's going to be to the people's benefit and not like killing everybody. So Friar Lawrence is wandering around his gardens, and then all of a sudden comes Romeo running up, and Romeo is all excited to see the friar because I don't know how your relationship is if you have a religious leader in your life, but sometimes young people, they just have somebody that they connect with, they can talk to, they can tell all the things that are going on in their life. And it seems that Friar Lawrence has fit this role for young Romeo. Friar Lawrence is not family. He's a third party. He's kind of in between all the characters of our play here. But Friar Lawrence is kind of Romeo's confidant. It's who Romeo trusts with his secrets. He's a secret keeper. So Romeo shows up, and Friar Lawrence is like, "Oh, Romeo, I can tell you have not gone to bed again. You have been up all night." And Romeo's like, "Yeah, guilty as charged." Remember, Romeo had just come from the balcony. The morning came, and then Romeo left, and he went to Friar Lawrence's. And so Romeo literally has been up all night. Romeo is all excited. He's, "Oh, good father, I want to tell you some news. I am in love." And Friar Lawrence is like, "Oh, I've heard this before. You're just infatuated. You're just a dumb kid. You're a dumb teenager who doesn't actually know what you're talking about." Which is kind of funny because a friar, by definition, doesn't marry. They're celibate. So who's he to give advice? Like, whatever. Friar Lawrence, though, thinks, Romeo is just being rash and just not paying attention and just kind of being a doofus. And so Friar Lawrence is like, "Oh, you just need some sleep. You're just not really paying attention to things." And then he says, and, from what I understand, Rosaline doesn't like you. He kind of drops the Rosaline bomb. And Romeo goes, no, I'm not talking about Rosaline. In fact, I've got a real problem, Friar. I'm in love with Juliet Capulet. Now, Friar Lawrence, like anybody else in this town, knows that these families are at war, the Capulets and the Montagues. And so Friar Lawrence is like, that's really a bad idea, Romeo. And Romeo's like, I'm in love, so, I need your help. And Romeo just lays it out. He says, listen, Juliet and I want to be married. Now, Friar Lawrence, I guess he could say no. He could say, nope, I have nothing to do with this. But Friar Lawrence, he tends to be a peacemaker. He wants to help people. And he sees the marriage of Romeo and Juliet as bringing these two families together. And in that spirit, in that hope, Friar Lawrence agrees. He's like, well, I have my concerns, but I think I can. I think I can, and I think I shall. And yeah, let's do this. So Romeo is so excited, and he stumbles as he's heading out the door, and he's just like, because he's sleep deprived, 2 days of not sleeping. And Friar just ends with a little quip of, wise and slow, they stumble that run fast. Just slow down, Turbo. Now, I want to give you some literary terms that go with reading Shakespeare, reading plays in general. This scene started out with the friar talking all by himself. Friar Lawrence was walking around his gardens. When a character is on the stage and they're all by themselves, we call that a soliloquy. They're talking, but they're all by themselves, and that's it. It's almost as if they're thinking out loud. Remember, it's not like a movie where you can have like a voiceover, like dubbing in when a person's like picking flowers. So Friar Lawrence is walking around and he's like thinking out loud, oh, these are, half poison if I do things wrong. That's what we call a soliloquy. A monologue is when you have a whole bunch of characters or multiple characters on the stage at one time, and that one character then starts to speak, and it's like a speech. It's like, hey, everybody shut up and listen to me. That's what we would call a monologue. Now, if we have multiple characters, like maybe 5 or 10 characters on the stage, but then a couple of them, like 2 or 3, want to have a private conversation, obviously all the actors are out there on the stage, so what they do is we call that an aside. It's like just a little, hey, private, little word with the person next to you. Obviously, they have to say it loud so the whole audience can hear. But an aside is sacred in that none of the other characters on the stage can hear those as well. So there we go. We got 3 literary terms: soliloquy, monologue, and aside. Hope you guys are enjoying this today. Nice and simple. Only Act 3 or Scene 2. I said it wrong. Act 2, Scene 3. And yeah, we'll just keep plucking along here. We'll talk to you guys and see you tomorrow.